It's the Mad Queen. Welcome to the Queen's Lair. I'm super pumped to do this video with you guys because this has been a bit of a controversial topic since Daniel came out. I personally think that Daniel is the better option for beginners that are starting the game over Bailey Hudson. There are some people that agree with this and some that don't. So I'm really curious on what you guys think about this. I'm going to go over both of these heroes and we're going to talk a little bit about both of them. And I want to know, do you think Daniel or do you think Bailey? So whenever it comes to Daniel, he is a Summoner class hero. SSS just came out. And all of his abilities are based off of summoning extra heroes or extra things onto the battlefield to help him fight. Whenever you take a look, they get 100% of his attack and 100% of his defense, okay? If Daniel summons a new summon onto the battlefield while there is already one there, they have to be of the same type, by the way. So if he's got one of his dogs out and actually, it's not a dog, it's called a jaguar, I'm pretty sure. So if he has a jaguar out and he tries to summon another one, it's going to explode and deal extra damage. Whereas if that jaguar was to die and then he summoned in another one, you're just totally missing out on that damage. So he's really easy to build because you only need to put as much attack and defense on him as you can. Of course, you're not going to look to put main stat defense on him. Everything I have on here is attack percent based and three full hero sets. But every single one of these pieces has defense percent as a substat. With Bailey, don't get me wrong, I love Bailey. I'm a huge Bailey fan. As you can see, I have him pretty leveled as well. Bailey also does quite a bit of damage, and he's really good. Bailey also needs a lot of crit rate, a lot of crit damage, and a lot of attack. Don't get me wrong, that's not unreasonable, and that's honestly pretty common. You don't need all those things on Daniel. You only need attack percent and defense percent to keep him alive and make him deal a lot of damage. And I'm also going to say, as you can see, I do have a really built out Bailey. 479,000 CP here and 357,000. I have put both of them together in so many places just to test them out to see how much damage they're doing. Daniel does more damage in almost all these places. I will say that Bailey is obviously incredible in PvP content, but when it comes to the PvE content, Daniel does more damage than he does unless you have, a super insane Bailey Hudson that is like fully ascended immortal, okay, where you have the perfect pieces of equipment. Don't get me wrong, Bailey is really good and you don't need to have amazing gear on him for him to be a really good hero, just like Daniel. The difference is Daniel is going to be able to be used in more places within PvE content than Bailey is. That doesn't mean you can't use Bailey everywhere. He's going to be a better option though because he has AoE abilities. He's able to deal damage to multiple targets at once. He has a stun. He's able to do explosive damage. So not only can you use him in places like the Sensaro Marsh and the Disa Caves, you can also use him in the Terror Dome. He's really good in the Terror Dome, and I've gotten my fastest teams in every single place within the game as far as the dungeons with Daniel on my team, whereas I was using Bailey Hudson before. Bailey is great. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's not good, but I think that Daniel is now the better option for beginners. They can both be used everywhere. There's no doubt about that. But whenever it comes to how easy they are to build, the kind of stats you need for them, and what kind of damage or utility they're able to provide in those places, comparatively, Daniel is able to do more overall. And this doesn't mean you shouldn't get Bailey Hudson or anything like that. But Daniel is, honestly, if you have Daniel, he's going to take the place of a lot of Triple S heroes and you could use him for a really long time. He is really, as you can see, I have Ravina. She's incredible for AoE damage. Daniel's right up there with her. He can do just about the same as her, if not even, and sometimes more. So he's able to provide that AoE damage that you need. He's also able to provide some tankiness because of the summons he brings in. He's also able to provide a lot of extra damage because if he has summons alive, like I've mentioned, and tries to summon the exact same copy in, it explodes and deals damage. He just is able to do so much, and Bailey does have his limits. I'm not saying Daniel doesn't, but because you need to focus on building defense into Daniel as well, he survives for quite some time. And there's a lot of times where my Serena will die and everybody else, and he is still the last one alive with full health on the battlefield. And that doesn't always happen with Bailey. And seriously, I really don't want you guys to think that I am like making a hate on Bailey video, because that's not what's happening. I love Bailey Hudson. He is incredible. And as far as this video goes specifically, this is for us to have a discussion on the best hero for new players to start with. I actually just started a free-to-play account on NA servers. It was like a day or two ago, I believe, so that I could make better guides for beginner players specifically, and also I could continue to make content for free-to-play players. The game now is way different than it was whenever I started the game. So whenever people talk about specific things, I'm like, man, we didn't have that. We didn't have to make that decision, and I really have to think about what's more beneficial when people are asking me, and I really hate to give people information that's not correct. So that's why I wanted to test all these things out so I could actually make more content that's better for the people that aren't spending a bunch of money or that are just starting the game. But as you know, like I've said, I think Daniel is the #1 choice for beginners as far as starting heroes, Triple S, that is. And I'm curious what you guys have to say about this. This does not mean that all of the other Triple S heroes are not good by any means. I get a lot of people that want to say that. When I say Daniel is the best option for beginners, they're like, yeah, but this hero is good, and this hero is good, and this hero is good. I'm not saying that those heroes aren't good, because they are excellent heroes. Ravina is excellent. Bailey is excellent. Emma is excellent. There are so many really good heroes. But for a beginner, Daniel provides the most versatility, and he's also able to do so much damage, and he can fill a lot of spots within team comps. Let me know what you guys think. I'm curious. This will be a fun video, a very fun discussion to be had as well in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.